What's up, everyone? My name is Bobby Jarel. I am here with Dr. Alicia Carrigan, who will be presenting
Ashley.
as the
It's Ashley.
Alicia. I'm so sorry. Excuse me, Ashley. Sorry about
Yes.
that, y'all. Ashley. I don't know where I got Alicia from, and it's right here in front of me.
I got a new name.
Sorry. With Ashley, Dr. Ashley Carrigan. Dr. Ashley Carrigan. I had some technical issues. I was trying to rush back to get it fixed. All right, so let me start that over. What's up, everyone? My name is Bobby Jarel, and I am joined with Dr. Ashley Carrigan, who will be presenting at the upcoming BWIBAAD conference in Orlando, Florida on February 21st and 22nd. And so right now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about her background in the field, as well as what she will be talking about at the conference. You guys can go to BWIBAAD.org. That's BWIBAAD.org to register for the conference and use registration code Bobby Jarel 40 off to get 40% off of the cost of the conference. So again, I apologize. Excuse me. I did not mean to call you by the wrong name.
It's okay, Jarel.
I see. Okay, that's okay. Now we're about to have fun. Now we're about to have fun. All right. All right. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. What about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm here in Houston, and so this week has been off because of the weather. We actually got like a good bit of snow, so it's been a crazy weekend. Yeah, we got a good amount of snow. There's still
I'm used to flooding in Houston. Like
yeah,
I used to live
hurricane, all that.
Wow.
Where are you located?
I'm in Atlanta. Well, a little bit south of Atlanta.
I was just in Atlanta this past weekend. I was
Okay.
I was in Mableton.
Oh, so you missed our snow situation.
Yes. It was like the week before, and when I was leaving, I was scared. They were saying that because of the weather here in Houston, that we might get a little delayed. But like I was out Monday, and as I was leaving out, it was getting like freezing cold in Atlanta. I think it was like Sunday night. The temperature just dropped drastically.
It was dropping drastically all day.
Right.
Yeah, we got a little bit of snow. I mean, it depends on what part of Georgia, but yeah.
Okay, nice. So, okay, first off, I want to know just how long have you been in the field of ABA?
I actually started in the field of ABA the same year as you, so almost 13 years, so 2012, and pretty much, never looked back since.
Mm-hmm. So, how long have you been a BCBA?
I literally am coming up on my anniversary next month, so I'll be 6 years in February.
So, what kind of got you in the field of ABA?
I guess it's more of a long story. I mean, it went from me changing my major a couple of times in undergrad. I went to Georgia State. Back then, ABA was not really that popular other than, finding a position at the Marcus Autism Center. So I kind of landed in ABA by pursuing it as a subspecialty in psychology because I was looking for, alternative options of what I wanted to do with like graduate school. I knew I wanted to like teach. I knew I wanted to help, others as far as in helping profession. So I went on a tour actually at the Chicago School, which is where I went for my master's program in LA. Toured, learned a little bit about some of the different psychology programs they offered, and kind of fell in love with ABA as a specialty. And then I literally started my master's program a month before I started working in the field. And then after that, I just fell in love, with it, because I always was a science, nerd, and I enjoyed, learning. I enjoyed helping others. I enjoyed working with children. And this was like my way into the field without having to become like I guess you can say a public school teacher, like without having to become a teacher, because I knew that wasn't something I wanted to do.
Right. So one of the things I always ask people that have been in the field for a while, do you feel like there's a big change in, I would say the overall nature of the field compared to what it was like when we started in 2012 to now?
Absolutely. It's been a whirlwind of changes. I mean, literally from the politics of it, the amount of services that are being provided, the children as far as being diagnosed with autism, if that's, a specialty that someone is like pursuing. And then also just with the number of clinicians we've had. I mean, I felt like not a lot of people knew back then when we first started, like in 2012, and now like you probably would be in a group of at least 5 people and at least one person have heard about ABA or heard about, the therapy that someone that they may be related to or have a friend that's receiving ABA services. So I feel like that's become a big shift, and the dissemination about it has like improved over time.
Nice. So, okay, let me ask you this. When you decided to like become a BCBA, what was like the motivating factor for you to say, yes, I want to do this certification? For me, it was like I had, and it kind of leads into what your topic for the presentation is, the leaning in and lifting as we climb, mentorship and behavior analysis. So for me, I would say I had one of my very first supervisors was crucial in my knowledge and my experience that I have now, because she kind of set me up even just as a BT before RBT even came around. So for me, that's what I had, someone I felt that was like nurturing in a way that made me want to learn, want to grow in the field, and then in turn that had my desire to like help the individuals that we work with. So what would you say the thing that like kind of motivated you like to say, yes, I want to take this
long journey? It actually started with one of my professors who actually was pursuing their doctorate, actually lent a helping hand as far as employing me at this company. It was a company that he had owned for a couple years, ABA company that's still known in California. And it was because I worked at a company that didn't employ as many BCBAs. Like it actually was the Lobos Institute. Lobos Research. A lot of my supervisors there didn't have their BCBA certification. They were also like in school to become BCBA. So it was like I didn't really have that strong mentorship and like, oversight with my hours. So I couldn't even accrue hours that first job that I got. And I ended up, going and pursuing a behavior therapist position at my teacher's like company. And he actually, kind of shed that light in me because it was a class that I took, and we talked about a lot of the research from like Skinner. And then I already was really into like Skinner. I had attended a conference because it was a requirement, and I just kind of fell in love with the field of behavior analysis. I fell in love with it because it was something that was, I don't feel like it was so new. It was just so intriguing to me to learn more about this particular topic in psychology, just from the typical, social or community or child psychology. It was just something that I was just really interested in and wanted to learn more about. So that's really kind of what drove me, to pursue that certification as becoming a BCBA and wanted to go further.
Nice. So do you feel that like these upcoming BCBAs now, do you feel like a lot of them have that same drive and motivation that I feel that listening to you, that I feel that you have, and I feel that I have?
I do think that, well, all the ones that I interact with, I do think so, because that's just something I try to pour into them as far as my leaning in and lifting up. One of the things that I want to pour into them is, that this field is so broad. There's so much that you can do. I try to, instill in them that there are various areas that you could specialize in versus just, the one particular area. And I like to kind of see that, that pie chart kind of move as far as like all the subspecialties that everyone is working in. So it is something that I try to, show them that although the field is so confusing, it's just so much that you can learn more about,
And that's the thing. I think that for me, I've worked with the kids from 3 to 24 years old, but then I also decided to do a life coaching course certification, because I feel like there are so many people that can use and benefit from the principles of ABA.
Absolutely.
It's like for us in our everyday life, like the last year, I would say I've spent a lot of my personal time working on myself and using like some of those techniques to work on getting better for me. And a lot of times what I've realized is that because we are right now with the individuals with autism, we're seeing that it's early intervention, right? That's the main focus. So a lot of newer BCBAs and technicians are coming in, and they're working with just that younger population. And so in their mind, it's very tunnel vision of, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. And so for me, the experience that I had working with the older population is kind of like shaped my mindset in a sense of, oh, I can benefit people way further than what we think we can.
Yes.
So how long have you been like focusing on just the mentorship of like the future of behavior analysis?
Oh, wow. So that's actually been going on longer than I've been a BCBA.
Okay.
One of my first, like, I should say, like, influential mentors was actually a company owner that I used to work for when I first moved back to Georgia. And she was a BCBA owned company, one of the, first, I'd probably say few that were found in Georgia, because Georgia is kind of still new to just overall ABA companies within the past few years. I think there's been a huge expansion, but back then she was someone that saw something in me as far as that mentorship and that supervision piece. So I worked as a clinical supervisor without a certification. Help oversee some of the therapists and the RBTs that we had that were taking their certification back when it was kind of still fairly new.
Right.
And that's when I started to really, I guess, become a mentor. And this was before I was even a BCBA. And then once I got my BCBA certification, it was just like, okay, now I actually can really do it.
Right.
And there was individuals that I worked with that were, therapists. And this was just honestly, like a pastime to them. Like, this is something that, for me to do until I get to my big step that I want to get to. And they ended up falling in love with it. And I was one of those people that were like, you should actually look into this as a profession because you're so good at it and you're so good with the kids. And that's basically how I started, mentoring some of the employees that I worked with. And then eventually, my colleagues, and then eventually, my students as well.
And I feel like that's like a nice pat on the back when you're able to be like, okay, I inspired someone to take this same journey. For me, I know the thing that I enjoy, especially like I have 2 technicians that I currently work with. When I first started work with them a couple of months ago, they were a little rough. They were a little rough around the edges. But in the last couple of weeks, they've come to me and they was like, hey, I'm interested in a lead position. I'm interested in a trainer position. And I'm like, okay, if y'all want these positions, these are the things I need you guys to work on.
Yes.
And for me, it's always been one of the things that I try to instill in like some of the mentor, the interns that we have, is that it's not just you sitting at the computer and doing data analysis and creating plans. You also have to like lead staff. You have to be perfect. You have to be able to connect with people. So how do you deal with somebody who's like extremely smart, but they're struggling with that side of like being a leader? Because I feel like in school for me, because I did a BCABA first and then BCBA. So it's like in school, most of my hours came from me working as a supervisor as a BCABA. And then I was in the military. So I got like training from the military when it came to leadership. But school itself didn't necessarily teach those leadership skills.
Right.
So some tips that you would possibly give to a BCBA, probably like a newly minted BCBA who's struggling with those skills with leadership and being a mentor.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, work on your pivotal skills that, as far as being a helping professional individual, there are so many different things that you have to work on for yourself in order to help others.
Right.
So, thinking about behavior cusp and pivotal behaviors, like there are pivotal behaviors that a BCBA should be able to display. Right. And that's something that I talk about, with my students, because that's not something that you'll typically find like in, the curriculum or in the task list or anything, as far as just those clinical skills. If you know what I mean? Like clinical skills as far as active listening or communication and, just overall self-management. I mean, those are different behavioral strategies that you have to also, implement for yourself in order for someone else, to be displayed that you're doing it through that modeling and that also that coaching or that behavior skills training that you're working on with them.
Right. And see, I love what you just did there also, because that's one of the things I always, when I'm working with the interns, I always try to get them to understand like, hey, this is what it is. This is the ABA term. This is how it applies to what we do, but this is how it also applies to your everyday life.
Right.
So like playing and breaking down to like, here are the pivotal behaviors. Here are small things that you need to work on that'll keep moving you forward in the game. Yes. And what you need to teach. And that behavior cusp is like, once you get there, you can be like Dr. Carrigan.
Exactly. Like, and then I'm like, I always tell them, I'm like, even though we know that these are like behaviors that we should engage in, no one is doing it 100% of the time. Like life, gets in the way. There are, environmental barriers that we're going to always deal with that are going to impact it. And I mean, it's the whole thing, like acceptance and commitment therapy. As far as ACT training, that's also something that, you know, I've learned to do myself, and then I try to encourage others to like do the research and go read the learn and do it themselves as well. So I definitely try to like always relate it back to the science so then they can understand it, you know, especially when they're a student or they're like an RBT and they want to like push themselves further. The more they understand exactly like some of the things that we do just on a regular daily basis,
Right.
the more that they're going to be inspired about learning more and to push themselves further, you know, as far as becoming a BCBA or, you know, a PhD doctor, you know.
One of the things that I've had conversations about with some of the interns at the center I'm at is getting them to understand the work that you are currently doing and what they currently see is only like a small fraction of what we actually do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Or like, something like this within a 6-month authorization. So a lot of times that it's like a struggle for some people to kind of like foresee. For me, I would say growing up in the field or just in life in general, I was always the type of person that I wanted to know everything. If I'm doing one job and there's 4 other jobs, I want to know how to do their job, because once I learn this job, I'm gonna get a little bored. So I want to switch I want to do everything, and I've realized now in life I can't do everything, and I burn myself out. But at the same time, I think that it's important for like these newly minted BCBAs or the ones that's getting ready to test is being able to understand like what all this field entails, and even like working with individuals with autism, whether it's working in school system, whether it's being a life coach, whether it's being in sports. There's so much that we can do, but you have to learn to do those things.
Exactly.
And like it goes back to, I love what you said, like the pivotal behavior, because I'm gonna go and have a conversation with some of the interns some more about this. So let me
know if you need some resources.
Right. So your topic again is leaning in and lifting as we climb, mentorship and behavior analysis. So give me what's like one little nugget that you can give me from what you'll be presenting on, because I want everyone that's watching and everyone who will see this video to be able to like, okay, that's something like I want to hear this topic because it's crucial. I feel like this is something that's so needed within the field.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is probably like a little spoiler alert, but when I thought about the name, it kind of made me think about like, you know, like the car that like, you know, does the leaning back, like from Cali, like, you know, from Snoop Dogg. Yes. So it made me think about leaning in and then like, you know, bouncing. So I'm like, okay, lean in and lift up. So that's kind of where I got my topic, the name of the presentation from. But it mainly just, you know, is going to be, the biggest topic is probably going to be about, you know, creating like a cultural, collaborative, you know, relationships, you know, with not only like your trainees, but your supervisees and anyone that, you know, is wanting to pursue further in the field. And then I'll, you know, be mainly providing like different strategies, things based off of research, and then also some action like plan tools that they can utilize.
Nice. I think one of the things I was saying, I think in one of the other videos with some of the other ladies, for me, it's if I have a trainee and they're like down and they getting it and they want that supervision, they want the help, they want the mentorship, then I'm going to give it 110%. But if I have someone that's like not willing to take that, I don't want them to go out and be like, oh, Jarel was my BCBA. I worked under him. Like, don't you go tell nobody that. But I think, like, for me, again, it goes, like I said, with my supervisor that I had in the beginning, even as just a BT. There was one day I was outside talking to one of my friends that I work with, who I started in the field with, and my supervisor was outside. At the time, I didn't have no degree at all. And so the supervisor was looking at us and she was like, when are you going to finish school so you can get your BCBA? So I'm looking at my friend looking at me. I'm like, why are you looking at me? She's talking to you. I was like, oh, you talking to me? It's like, for me, that was like somebody seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so I want to always be that for somebody else. And I tell people, like, whatever your career choice is, go for it. It doesn't matter if even people that I work with within the field, it's like, if your goal is not to become a BCBA, go do something, especially if it's a person of color, because like I've worked with some people who are amazing. This isn't their passion, but still go out and do something. And I think like that ties into like this, the mentorship, just in general, like what led you to become a BCBA, what led me to become a BCBA. I just want to lead people to greatness.
Absolutely.
That'd be a good topic. If you want to use that for your next whatever you do your next presentation, like mentorship, leading them to greatness, I'll just take like 20% off of it. But I think
I might save that.
Right.
I might save that.
Good.
Might be the name of a book, actually.
Just a little thank you in the front will be okay with me. Like, thank you.
You never know.
As long as the check clear, you can call me Jarel, whatever you want to call me. It doesn't matter. But again, thank you so much, Dr. Ashley Carrigan. Is there anything that you want to share, like your Facebook, Instagram?
You can find me on Mindfully Behavior Mama, and that has a period in between each, mindfully and behavior. So mindfully.behavior.mama, and mama is spelled MAMA. And I mean, other than that, you can also find me on LinkedIn, maybe not on Facebook. That to like my close circle and family.
Okay. And also, guys, you'll be able to find her on February 21st and 22nd in Orlando, Florida, presenting at the BWIBAAD conference. You can go to BWIBAAD.org. That's BWIBAAD.org to register. The conference is getting close. You can register to join in person, or you can join virtually and use code Bobby Jarel for 40% off. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Carrigan, for joining me this afternoon. I wish we could have talked longer. I've been enjoying.
I'll see you at the conference.
Yes. All right. So until next time, guys, make sure y'all register for the conference, and you'll see a bunch of these amazing Black women who will be presenting at this conference, and it's definitely going to be worth it. Like, I'm looking forward to it. So
thank you, Jarel.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. All right. See you guys later. Have a great night. Make sure you'll go register.
And sponsor.
Yes, sponsor also. All right. See you guys later.